So far, we have seen the method of making fractions from a full object, right? We have looked at various examples to teach children the methods of dividing or splitting a square or a circle into equal portions to derive a factor. We have seen this so far. Now, let us look at the method of deriving fractions from a given group of objects or a pile of objects. To begin with, let us take this very familiar TLM. I will select one pile from it. This contains 10 beads. If I give you 3 out of these 10, how much have I given you? Here, you have to be very careful while using the language or the terminology. Here, I have given you 3 out of 10. There is a possibility of children making a mistake here and saying, I got 3. When you are teaching the concept of fractions, how much did you get? I say, out of the 10, I got 3. In the same way, if I give you 10, how many were in the pile? There were 100 in the pile. And from the pile of 100, I gave you 10. In the same way, if I give you 20 to a student, if I give these 20, should I be saying, I have taken 20 beads? No, I should say, from 100 beads, I have taken 20 beads. Similarly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 50 beads. What is 50? It is the half. There are 100 beads and they have been divided equally. From this pile, if I give you 50 beads, from this group of 100, I have given you 50. How are these beads looking now? They are equals. That is, from this pile of 100, I have given you exact half portion. That is 50 out of 100. So, to tell you precisely, I have given you half of the pile from the full pile. Using the same method, how can you derive the fractional numbers from this group or pile? It can be done when I divide each of these things or when I distribute it equally and I give one of the portions to you. This is that any group that I choose to give you, that group is given to you only after the entire pile has been divided equally. This is an important point. Similarly, to give one more example or idea, we can use these yellow cubes also. It is always better to give examples close to everyday life activity. For example, I work at a shop and we sell geometry boxes. In that shop, the school is starting now, and the boss asked me to go and check how many geometry boxes are there. Let us consider that one type of geometry box is for primary school and another type of box is for high school. They have two different types of geometry boxes. So, totally there are 100 geometry boxes. How many geometry boxes are there for the primary school? We can take it as 50 in 100. Or how many ever are assigned, like 25 in 100 or 30 or 100. So, in the available stock, how much is assigned to the primary school? So, in this way, if we take such examples, the method of deriving fractions from a group can be taught easily. Moving ahead, let us put these yellow cubes away and take this group of 50 square counters. When I ask in this pile of square counters, how many blue square counters are there? The children will start counting and pick out the 10 square counters. So if I give you these blue colored counters from this pile of 50 square counters, how much would I have given you? From the pile of 50, I have given you 10. Similarly, the yellow cubes, from the pile of 50, you get 10. So, how much of how much is given? This kind of terminology is very important. This is one aspect that has to be put deeply into the children's mind while teaching this particular topic. Why do we have to lay so much emphasis on this aspect? Is that when we learn to derive fractions from a group or pile, it will be very helpful in future to learn different concepts for the children. More concepts are introduced in higher grades like the 6th, 7th, and 8th, and include topics like percentage, decimals, or ratio, or graph depictions. So, for all these concepts, the fractions in groups will prove to be very helpful.